Welcome to Just an Everyday Fan. So I started hearing a lot of stuff about a player, Emma Meesseman, and I'm thinking, who is this Emma Meesseman? So I had to look her up, and I had to do a little research on her because it seems like teams are jockeying, moving everything around, trying to get cap space. She's currently playing for I believe, the Turkey team. I'm not quite sure on that. So she's put some interest. She's just kind of put it out there that she could come back to the WNBA. So there's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of everything going on, a lot of excitement. Teams are trying to get their roster nailed down. They're trying to make room, get cap space. A lot of stuff is going on. So the two things that I have heard, now I don't know Emma personally, but so I didn't hear this from her, but the two things that I've heard is that she would possibly consider coming back to the WNBA, but she had stipulations. One of those stipulations was she had to play for a contending team, which meant she had to play for one of the top teams that could possibly take the championship. And she wanted a high salary cap. So she wasn't just going to get paid mid-range or mediocre salary to make the trip to the United States. So I'm not sure if she was looking for a Supermax contract or if she would settle for something in between. I looked her up, and I'm going to have to look at some of my notes here. I found her fascinating, really. So she's known as a power guard that has game on both ends of the court. She's 6'4". She's a highly versatile player because she can shoot, she can score, she can guard, she can pass, she can defend, and she can rebound. She's currently putting up, on average, about 15 to 18 points per game, 5 to 7 rebounds per game, and 3 to 5 assists per game, and shoots at about 60%. She's fluent in 3 languages: Dutch, French, and English. My gosh, I envy you so much, Emma. She was born with a disability, a hearing disability, so she was born with only 50% of her hearing. So she wears hearing aids. Go, girl. She was the 2013 19th round draft pick. Okay, put a pin in that. 19th round. Evidently, she got her game together because in 2019, she won an NBA championship. In 2019, she was the finals MVP. She played for the Chicago Sky in 2022 before they released her. She is a 6-time EuroLeague Women's Champion, to include 2023 to 2024. And why is this important? Because I thought, oh, well, maybe she's an older player and she's just not gonna be that good. She's not gonna put up those points. Yes, she's veteran, she's highly decorated, but maybe she's not what she once was. As we all are as we get old, right? I think there's a Toby Keith song about that. Back to the stats. So she is a 3-time EuroLeague MVP, 2023, 24, and 25. Recent seasons, all of these. She competed in the Olympic Games in 2020 and 24. She was named to the All-Star 5 on those teams both times. That's a pretty impressive resume. So I'm thinking to myself, and my mind starts going to the numbers. So I had to kind of look up some, salary caps and what what the different teams may have, because we know she wants to go to a top contending team. Well, if we were saying top contending team right now, that looks like Minnesota, New York, Phoenix, Atlanta. Let's say the top four. But think of it this way. You only need to get into the playoffs. So really 1 through 8, right? Because there can be upsets. An underdog can upset one of those top teams. It's been done before. So who does that kind of leave into the mix? I don't think she would take Las Vegas. And I know she's not going to take the Valkyries because of what they did to Van Loo. So we can pretty much cross that out. And it's a shame because the Valkyries have more cap space than anyone that's available. They could have signed her. But if I were her, I would think twice on that move, if that's even a consideration. Because they have shown that they really don't care about the player. So we're looking at Minnesota, New York, Phoenix, or Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't have the cap space, nor does Minnesota. Minnesota's only coming in around 6,000 and some change. They would have to release several players to be able to bring her on. New York, however, has the cap space. They have 119,000 and some change. They could release one player, and they would have the cap space to bring her on. Phoenix, they're at 88 and some change. They could also release a player to bring her on. So we have Minnesota, no. So we have New York, Phoenix, and unless Atlanta's releasing multiple players, I don't think that they're going to be a contender. Seattle, maybe if they release multiple players. It would take multiple high-paying players released to be able to bring her on. And we know we hope she won't go to the Valkyries. Las Vegas doesn't have the cap space. There might be another contender. Or there could be. Indiana Fever. They are sitting at number 8, which, if all things stayed the same, everything stayed equal, they would have a playoff spot. And they have a cap space currently of 111,000 and some change. Now, I don't think she would take 111,000 to make the trek over. I don't know that. But they could release Bree Turner. And that would free up another 85,000 in cap space. Unless they have to keep Bree Turner for a certain reason. I'm not too sure. She's not getting any game time, and when she does come in, there's not anything that's really contributed to the team, in my opinion. So Indiana could be a possibility. But what I'm hearing is Indiana's making no moves. They're not making any moves. 0, none. They have 11 players right now because Christy Wallace actually took the season off, but they still have the legal rights to her contract. So they have 11 players. So they're playing a player short. They could bring her in. Would it be a good move? I don't know. And then you have Washington and you have Dallas. So let's not count Dallas out. I know they're down and they're sitting at number 10 right now. But if anyone saw that game, I went back and watched that game last night. Dallas versus Mercury. Go Dallas Wings. They had all rookies out on the floor, and they beat the number 3 seed right now. They beat them, hands down. The rookies outplayed the veterans. It was amazing. I loved it. Paige Becker and her team was wonderful. I can't say enough about them. They were just having fun, and they were gelling, and it was brilliant. It was a brilliant game. But that's it. I mean, I don't know. Gosh, Connecticut's not in the running. They're 13th. They've only had 2 wins for the whole season. I think they pretty much have. I think they're out of contention. LA, they're over their cap right now of 36,000, unless they're letting players go that I don't know about. So you only have a handful. Like, you have a handful of could-be choices, like maybe 5 choices that she might even consider coming to. So remember, she wants contention at the championship. And yes, if you were looking at it, you would say, well, Alicia, there's only really 2, and that would be New York and Minnesota. Well, we still have a lot of season left. There have been a lot of injuries. Now teams are letting everyone go. They're just shuffling like it's musical chairs. And when the music stops, you better have a chair to sit in, or you're out. I thought that was a very interesting thing. I also, oh my goodness, I had so much fun. I found all the contracts. Gosh. And then I started wondering, well, what happens when a player gets injured? And, can the team just waive them? And so I started digging into all that. It's like my mind just won't shut down. My friend goes, can't you just enjoy the game? No, I can't. I want to learn. I want to learn all this stuff, I do enjoy the games. I absolutely love the games, but I want to learn. He doesn't even care to know that stuff. It's like, well, whatever. And I don't know. My mind won't shut off. And I have question after question. I'm like a 2-year-old. Why? Why did they do that? Why did that happen? How is this? How is that? It's like I'm a 2-year-old. All I know how to do is ask why, and I want answers. So I did find the contracts, and I thought those were fascinating to look at, all of the players. I was wrong. Caitlin's not on a 3-year contract. She's on a 4-year contract. So I apologize for my past video when I said 3-year. And I started digging into all that, and I realized the Lynx, and this is going to change things up. The Lynx have 9 players that are going to be up at the end of this year. 9 players that could potentially go to free agent. New York has 13. Phoenix has 13. And Indiana has 9. And these are all some of the top players. Their contracts are coming up for renewal. The Breeze and the Nafisa Colliers and the Caitlin. Well, no, Caitlin's is not up till 2027. And these are some of the top players on each one of these teams that are coming up. Now, certainly, they're going to try to retain them. They're going to try to re-sign them, right? You don't want your top players gone, which means the players are going to ask for a salary bump. They're going to request it in their new contract. It's a given. It's a given. So those $200,000 contracts are going to turn into they might turn into a super max. I mean, you don't know. And it depends on what they do on this season as to what they're going to get. Because if their team doesn't want to pay it, another team might. So with we have all these contracts that are coming up, and those were just the 4 that I checked. That I just looked at Indiana and the top 3 teams currently, and I looked at Dallas Wings, and those were, I mean, you look at all these contracts that are coming up at the end of this year, all these free agents that are going to come on that could possibly put their hand up and go and shop themselves and say, I'm not going to sign with you because you're not going to give me what I want salary-wise, so I'm going to see if there's someone out there that will. And that's the name of the game right now, right? It's money, benefits, it's everything. So we have the CBA agreement that's in process right now. We have all these contracts expiring at the end of this year. So free agents everywhere. We have 2 new teams coming on, expansion teams coming on next year, which are going to take players from each team. I think next year is going to look like a bomb went off in the WNBA. I don't know where we're going to find players. I don't know what teams we're going to find players on. I have no clue what's going to happen and how everything's going to play out. But it should be very, very entertaining, if nothing else, to see what comes of this. Now, back to Emma. Where do you think she's going to go? If she is serious about coming into the WNBA again, where do you think she's going to go? Put your pick, if you would. I would love to hear your pick. Like, what team do you think is going to get her? Because I'm sitting here looking at the possibilities and trying to play chess with all these numbers and what they could do and what these teams could do to try to bring someone like her on, because she's a get. If she's putting up these solid numbers every single game, we already know she's pedigreed. Look at what she has behind her. Olympic champion, All-Star 5 on the Olympics, MVP for the championship in 2019, and she's already won a championship. She played for the Sky, and she was MVP 3 times for the EuroLeague in recent years. 23, 24, 25. That's huge. I mean, that's pedigree, right? You're getting a player that isn't just a veteran. She's still putting up hardcore numbers on the stats. She is still playing hard. So it'll be interesting to see who might have an opportunity to retain Emma and whether or not she's going to take it to come to the WNBA. I will see you in the next one.